So I am sitting here in beautiful Koh Lanta, Thailand, and I have been living my dream of being a digital nomad for now the last 5 months, which has been, it's surreal. It's incredible. It's surreal. I can't believe that I'm actually living this life. I'll just show you very quickly a brief little view of what it looks like where I'm staying here in Koh Lanta. Absolutely unbelievably beautiful and hot. And now I get to add to my list of my identity of digital nomad, world traveler, extraordinaire, all of these things. But I was thinking today about all of you and about the time in my life in which I not only was not a digital nomad or a traveler, I felt like I had no identity at all. I wanted to talk about that for a minute. So when we have MECFS, especially for a long period of time, and when it gets really, really bad, it's to no fault of our own, very likely that the illness of MECFS can become our whole personality. It can become our whole identity. It's almost like MECFS comes in, sweeps its leg across our life and wipes everything out, and all it leaves behind is the illness itself. And so by no fault of our own, it becomes our life. It becomes what we think about all day long. It becomes what we research on the computer all day long. We're in these echo chambers of these support groups where we talk about it all day long. When we're not talking about it, we're thinking about it, or we're dreaming about, what our life used to be, and we're grieving. And it becomes, very easily can become your whole identity. And I see this all the time, and I don't mean this in any way as a criticism, but, I see people who've created whole blogs or Instagram pages to the experience of having a chronic illness and shedding light, bringing awareness to what it is to have the illness. And that's beautiful. We need more awareness. We need people to understand what's happening to us. But the hang up I see in this is that you only cement yourself further into the illness is me. I am the illness. This is my identity. And I don't know if you can relate to this, but when I was very, very severe with this illness, I went from being, a world traveler, a poet, a performing musician. I loved being on stage, a really great cook, a vegan, a wanderer, a traveler. I drove a truck and I had a really cool camper, and all of that was wiped away. And all that was left behind was just a being, this entity, this person with no identity, laying in a bed all alone with no one to visit and no one to come around. And it wasn't just the isolation, but the complete and total lack of identity. And I always speak that it was in this place where MECFS wiped everything away that actually the real me had space to actually come forward. All these things that I thought were who I was are just things I do. They're passions of mine, but they're not who I am. And it was in that dark bed where I actually came face to face with me. Who was I behind all of these things? Who was I behind all of the behavior traits that I thought made me who I was? The people pleasing and the overachieving and the overperforming and the boundarylessness and, just this never say die, I can do anything, I'm gonna prove it to the world. Who was I behind all of that? Because now I couldn't do those things. And I certainly couldn't take care of others. And it was in this sort of ego death that I actually found myself. And so I want to encourage you, if you're in that space right now where MECFS feels like your entire personality, I want to encourage you to begin to take a step, even if you're super sick and it still feels like all you are, beyond that. And here is an exercise that I did when I was very, very severe that helped me begin to take these steps. Take out a piece of paper if you can, and draw a column down the center of it. And on the left side, put all the things that you identify as, all the things that you feel you've lost that are who you are. So this would be on my list, it would be vegan, great cook, explorer, wanderer, musician, poet, healer, savior, fixer, restored a trailer, traveled to 20 countries, put all that stuff on the list. And you can feel while you're doing it, the deep sadness, the grief. Maybe you put that you're mother of 2 children, great wife, great husband, whatever, all on that side. And then for one moment, take a look at it and recognize how much of that you feel you've lost to the illness, and let yourself feel the grief. But then on the other side of the paper, on the column, I want you to list all the things until you can't think of any more that are not what you do, but what you are. On my paper, it was compassionate, curious, persevering, determined, empathic, creative, hardworking, spiritual, loving, adventurous, passionate. Put on that side all the things that make you who you are. And these things are there. They're still inside you, and they cannot be taken from you, no matter what you can do, what you can achieve, what you can create, what you can perform. These things cannot be taken by any illness. These intrinsic qualities that you have are with you always. Take a moment, look at the list, and feel the joy. Meet yourself on the paper. Look at all of these tremendously beautiful qualities that you have not lost, and feel the joy of that. And for a moment, try to see on the paper that just because you can't do all of these things, that this side of the paper remains true, maybe more true than it's ever been, and cannot be lost. This is one of the first steps that I took towards rediscovering myself, and I hope that it's of use to you today. Rooting for you always and in all ways. Have a great day.